Now, it's sugary, it's tasty, and all kids and some adults love it. But the city of Boston is trying to do away with these sugary drinks and replace them with something more affordable and healthier. Now, Taylor says that drivers should be okay as long as repairs are done properly. But if something does happen, the city can be held liable. Mazzaro will hold a press conference this afternoon with more details. Reporting live in downtown Boston, I'm Felecia Bearden for WEBN. Back to you. I'm Felecia Bearden, and this is your J Channel News Update. It's Thursday, January 17th, and we are at the White House. Stay tuned for our 2013 presidential inauguration coverage. The Red Sox go on to win 3-1 with a late home run by Daniel Nava in the 7th inning. Clay Buchholz earned the win with a 7-inning, 3-hit performance. Reporting live in downtown Boston, I'm Felecia Bearden for WEBN. Monday, over 23,000 runners started the Boston Marathon, but only 17,000 finished. Our reporter, Ariana Sandillo, spoke with some runners who didn't have the opportunity to cross the finish line.
Right now we're doing potholes, cutting them out, filling them in the proper way so they won't come out.
DPW worker James Taylor and his crew are working around the clock to fill these potholes, just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Joining them was Public Works Commissioner Joanne Mazzaro.
What we're doing today is kicking off the mayor's pothole campaign for this season called Spot Hole. We're trying to engage the public in helping us to identify potholes so we can fill them that much quicker.
Mazzaro says the campaign will help the city keep tabs on potholes. She hopes this will encourage the public to help keep the roads safer.
Always helps drivers. When we fill a pothole, it makes the ride smoother, and that's important to the mayor.
There's a lot of important for them. The drivers might lose their tires, hubcaps, things like that. They might blow out a tire, whatever. And some cases, they come back to us and you might have to pay them.
Now, Taylor says that drivers should be okay as long as repairs are done properly. But if something does happen, the city can be held liable. Mazzaro will hold a press conference this afternoon with more details. Reporting live in downtown Boston, I'm Felecia Bearden for WEBN. Back to you.
Being on the water is kind of a home place for me. You feel like a puppy. You know, your feet are too big, you can't figure anything out, everything's going wrong, you slip a lot.
Veteran Thomas Benoit is describing his first time rowing. He says it's simple.
The whole rowing motion is almost simple, but simple to a point that it's impossible to get right every time. There's so many small parts to it.
Benoit says rowing is not only a good workout, but the sport gives him a more calming approach to things.
That there's other stuff going on that, like, you know, the person who's driving like an idiot in front of you, it doesn't really matter because you're exhausted.
Rowing is amazingly therapeutic. For me, you know, I had sort of an interesting life as an undergrad, and I was, you know, kind of a mess.
Brianne Kulik is the head coach of the Veterans Program at Community Rowing, Inc. She says the program rebuilds veterans' confidence.
They just feel better about themselves. It's a sport that builds confidence because you have to work so hard at it that you feel like, well, if I can do this, I can accomplish anything in my life.
But Benoit says rowing runs deeper than water.
You become one unit, and you can't slack off if you do what shows and you're letting them down. I think that being in a veterans rowing group has helped a lot in my transition.
Although Benoit did not say whether or not if he suffered from PTSD, Coolidge says she has seen a big change in his transition. In fact, she says he is a little more competitive. Reporting from the Charles, I'm Felecia Bearden for WEBN.
These are bills we've already racked up as a country. Are we not going to pay our debts?
Democrat Congresswoman Lois Capps is referring to Congress's decision to increase the United States debt ceiling.
We are still in the midst of a recession, and we need to focus all of us together on creating an opportunity for our economy to grow.
California Congressman Eric Swalwell agreed with Capps. He says that Congress has made a commitment to do this, but needs to stick to paying the nation's bills.
The Congress needs to pay its bills. You know, I have to pay my bills. My parents have to pay their bills. So I support the president in that pay your bills, be responsible in your spending.
George Washington University professor and economist Tara Sinclair claims that Congress's decision about the debt ceiling was not easy to make.
What they ended up doing at the very last minute was to come up with a temporary plan that put back most government spending cuts for 2 months.
Sinclair describes the problem as a self-inflicted crisis. She says that Congress can change the problem by just borrowing more money.
So people are paying about 2% more in taxes starting in January than they were paying before, and that's just on almost everybody. In addition, we don't know what our tax bill is going to look like throughout the rest of the year.
IRS spokeswoman Peggy Riley says that taxpayers will not be affected this upcoming tax season.
The payroll tax went back to the way it was before the Recovery Act. It doesn't affect your tax return right now, but it does affect the paycheck that you're seeing right now.
Congress is set to vote on the debt ceiling in the upcoming weeks. In Washington, D.C., I'm Felecia Bearden for WEBN.
My personal goal is to win the World Series.
Torrey Hunter now plays outfield for the Detroit Tigers.
I think I had a pretty good season individually. Hit .313. You know, that was the highest average of my career, my 16-year career, and I'm 37.
But for Hunter, life wasn't always a day at the ballpark. Growing up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Hunter says life was tough.
Just growing up, my dad, you know, he wasn't right in the mind. I mean, he had a drug problem and different things like that. He's clean now, and he's awesome now, but in the past, he just had the drug problem, and we had different things going on with the lights cut off, and, you know, sometimes we didn't have, you know, enough bread or enough sugar or enough food to eat or anything like that, but we made it. It was tough seeing your dad like that when you were young, you know, and people knew it, you know, all your friends, they know in high school or junior high, you know, that's when you're starting to get in your cool stage, and you want everybody to think you're cool, but for me, everybody knew my dad was on drugs, you know, or whatever, and that was tough.
He says without those experiences, he would not be the giving and humble person he is.
That's what I do. I try to build up. That's what I try to. You build up people with your words, and you know, your word can be death or your word can be life, and that's what I choose to give is life.
With 9 gold gloves and a silver slugger, it is that inspiration that Hunter hopes will carry him and his team to this October's World Series. Reporting in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, I'm Felecia Bearden for WEBN.